I just escaped for some reason in his psyche. I wasn't, but I knew he was strange. There was no getting around it.
Well, that stuff, I'd love to hear what you meant by that. Do you know what I mean? Like, what was off?
Oh, well, I can tell you now. I can tell in people's eyes,
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you probably have people say that, but boy, there was something going on there.
You could see it behind
Oh, yeah. I mean, now I know.
Yeah.
I can read a lot in people's eyes now.
Yeah.
And that was really obvious in his.
It's true.
Now I see somebody like that and I say, nope, go the other way.
Yeah.
Because it's there.
Absolutely.
Same way you can read it in I can read a lot in people's eyes. I don't always know what it means, and that isn't what I'm saying. I don't learn a lot about the person. I just learn that there's something very
dark,
unusual about that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me his was dark, but other people I can read light, There's something light about them, One of the things that the result of that is that I wanted to go into law to protect myself,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So I was going to go to university, law school, but backed out of that. But, I was right there. He stood me up to go over to Colorado. I have those kind of memories.
Really?
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I broke up with him. People don't, I just wasn't used to being treated that way.
Right.
What
was the circumstances of that? You guys were going skiing, or?
Huh? No, it was summer. I was seeing him in the summer.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
It was only a couple of months that I saw him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Why were you?
So weird.
Why were you guys going to Colorado, if you don't mind me asking?
No, he took off for Colorado. That's where he was.
Yes.
We were supposed to go to a barbecue or something, and he stood me up,
Yeah.
Right. And said I went to Colorado. Well, I figured it out.
Yeah.
Because he was right. He was very busy, evidently, then. When he was going out with me, he was very busy.
He had been around.
I don't know how he went to Colorado, and he was always scoping.
Yeah.
Always scoping.
Did you know any of the LDS guys he was friends with?
No.
Okay.
I didn't even know. No.
Okay.
I don't know what his deal was with the church, but I know, I thought it was a girlfriend that brought him here. One whose family lived in Ogden. That must be fairly well known, right?
Yeah, Liz. That's right.
Yeah.
That's why he was out here. But
right. And how he ended up in this area.
Exactly. A lot of people don't realize that that she was from Ogden. Her dad was a surgeon and a Weber State guy up there.
Right. I didn't know exactly, but he would say that he was still in contact with him when he was seeing me.
It seems like, from talking to folks like yourself, he was very, he kept people separated, like you didn't know about the Mormon people.
Well, he wasn't too forthcoming, but I did meet his parents.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And well, anyway.
I got you talking about it. Sorry, Leslie.
Well, no, that's okay, because that's why I haven't called you,
No.
But I just know that once I did get your message.
Yeah.
One morning, and I went, oh, this is what it would be, going back to that life. But nonetheless, I'm not that damaged. I forget about it, In fact, I had a thought.
Yeah.
In just not too distant past in which I was saying, ooh, a serial killer. And then it finally dawned on me that I have a personal history, because I wasn't even in the picture of serial killer when it came up, and I went, oh.
Right.
I remember.
Right. Well, it's a pretty weird thing to dawn on you. I'm sure you're like, oh, a little closer.
Well, yeah, but see, I don't have anywhere to put it.
True.
I mean, I don't. It happened, and there you go. And I don't think that the only reason I look like his victims.
Yeah. Right.
So I was a hippie, more, I don't know, college kid, so I didn't fit into that category anymore, but I was a, semi-hippie. So.
Well, you were, I'm guessing you were late 20s, early 30s around that time?
Yeah, I was late 20s. No, wait. I was actually early 30s. Yeah, that's what you said. I was early 30s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Summer of 75, right in that area is what I gathered.
Yeah, my son was 7. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
go ahead. And I lived over by Sugar House Park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We went. He liked parks.
Hmm.
He scoped in parks.
Oh yeah.
He'd say, "Why are you looking over there?"
Oh.
I was pretty nice, of course.
Did you catch him doing that?
He said, "Yeah," and he said that looks like a girl. In fact, he said, well, I don't know if Liz is the one that had a daughter, but he said it looks like a girl I know, right?
Yeah, she did have a daughter, actually.
Daughter of one of my girlfriends. So he was forthcoming in that sense. I don't know if that was the truth or not. It might not have been the truth. No, I don't know if that's what he was actually seeing or something he made up, But
So
I suspect he was looking for victims himself.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you guys would go over to Sugar House Park once in a while and just hang out and.
Well, yeah, we just do normal dating stuff,
Do you remember how you met him?
Oh, yeah, Carole brought him home when I was living with her.
Okay. And Carole...
we were on 12th East. The kids went to Douglas when I was Douglas. It's now a charter school, I think.
Oh, okay. So yes.
Right by East High.
Okay. Now that makes sense because he had that second apartment on Douglas Street there.
Oh, he did?
Yes, he did. He lived on 3 after. Okay, so he lived at the 565 house. And,
the what? On Douglas? That's the next street up from 12th East, isn't it?
When he first moved out there, he lived at 565 First Avenue.
On the avenue?
Yeah.
Oh, I should know where he lives, shouldn't I?
Well, it sounds to me like you met him. So you're putting things together for me. It sounds to me like you met him after he was.
I don't know. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. After he was arrested, and he had moved.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
He was arrested when I was with him.
Okay.
He actually came over after he was released.
Okay.
Freaked me out after I'd seen him on the tube.
Yeah.
He went, whoa.
Right. Well.
What do I do now?
In all these
years. He says up at the door, and I go, my heart, I just think, wow.
Oh, man. I can't even imagine.
Well, yeah, and I had to cover the screen for my phone. I went, whoa. I got up and started dusting the TV.
So You saw him
He would have been old enough to recognize him.
That's when you first learned about it, though. You saw him on TV?
That's how I learned about it.
Okay.
Right. He said he'd been arrested. So I don't know if he was arrested more than once in Salt Lake.
Well,
That happened in July or something, didn't that, midsummer? I don't know. No, it was after July. It was still warm. Oh, I know that.
But I know he was arrested the first time on August 16th out in Granger, out in the West Valley area.
Right.
And then he was officially arrested for the Durange kidnapping thing on October 3rd.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So what did you say, in August 1st?
August 16th was when he was picked up by the Highway Patrol.
That's about my memory, too. And he was, what was I going to say? That a funny thing happened to me on the way to the forum.
Okay.
You can believe that. I said, oh, yeah, right. Bye. He returned some albums, believe it or not.
He did what? I'm sorry?
He came to return some albums, and I was just thinking this. I brought your name up to one of my friends and said I always thought Ted, I didn't realize that Ted was probably coming over to see if I was still approachable.
Oh, yeah, weird.
I mean, as a friend. He wouldn't go. I mean, I don't know. Why would he bother to return my albums? I don't know. But, and that was it. I did never hear from him again.
Okay.
He never tried to contact me again. Maybe he read something in my behavior like freak out. No, because that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
I just wanted him to leave,
Well, you were a school teacher, and man, this guy is...
Well, that's part of it. I was worried about my reputation and whether that's my job. And that's one of the reasons I got an attorney, to protect myself.
Sure.
Protect my son, really.
Talking.
No, I don't remember names of police.
But you remember?
No.
You remember talking to them, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know they interviewed me.
Okay.
They didn't seem to ever find much interest with me, though. I didn't think.
Yeah, I've heard that from different people, and I think in retrospect they were like, oh, we should have talked to these people, and now they're gone,
Well, I just couldn't understand. I thought, well, I could tell him a lot about his, personality and the way I saw it anyway,
Right.
But, I mean, I never quite understand why they didn't. But I was relieved, on the one hand.
Sure. If you were to, describe his personality in as much detail, how would you describe that guy?
Well, I can't.
Yeah, right.
That's the problem.
Right.
I don't understand he was adopted, if I understood it. I don't even know if that's true.
He was a lawyer. He was trying to be a lawyer.
No, I know he was going to law school, but adopted,
Oh.
And I thought, well, maybe he had some, for me, the answer is a terrible childhood. Something really terrible happened to this person, right?
Right.
To screw them like that, to, have him warped, in a sense, really warped and, well, police the closest thing to evil I ever know.
Yeah. Right.
And I don't understand evil. I don't believe in evil, actually. Except for people like, people that do these kind of things that are so warped. They're so,
The behavior is evil, right?
unfathomable. Yeah, well, what do you say about it? It's so sick.
Right.
In our terms. No, I don't understand at all what he was, for him to be so sane on the surface.
Right.
I mean, that's what I said. I just said something is really wrong with this person. That's what I said.
Well,
he just was freaking me out on strange things. It sounds really funny. But, I mean, things like drinking a can of beer and falling asleep on my carpet, I didn't. And wearing his uniform, that's the biggest thing, I think. He got a job as on campus police.
Okay.
And he loved that uniform. I went, what? And here I was, kind of a burgeoning hippie.
Yeah, right.
I'm just going, what would you like about the power? Or whatever he, big guy in that police suit. I just didn't get, but now I know. He really felt vulnerable with that on. I'm one of you guys,
Wow. No, I see that. And, what's funny, I knew that he worked up at the campus, but he was, what I've been told is that he worked for Bailiff Hall, running projectors up there, and then also that he was a custodian. But this is the first I've heard about him being a security guard or whatever, campus police.
Yeah, he had a uniform. He didn't want to take it off.
Really?
I thought, what? This doesn't float my boat, right? So,
right.
Anyway.
I hate this. So he would wear a campus cop uniform, and he would never take it off. He was proud of it. He loved it.
Well, no, I shouldn't say never take it off, but he seemed to want to be in that uniform instead of changing to street clothes,
Wow. So.
And I thought, we're going to go out to dinner, and he's going to wear his uniform instead of change. I don't know. It was just strange behavior to me. I thought, no, I don't want somebody that wants to strut around in a police uniform, basically. Well, I can't say that's good. I just am saying, why does he want to go in that?
Right.
Instead of asking him, I'd probably ask somebody now. When I was young and innocent, basically.
Okay. That's fascinating.
I thought so, too. But I thought it was fascinating that he loved parks, and I thought it had to do with the lifestyle in Seattle, in a bigger city. I thought people appreciate parks and they use them in the big cities, right?
Yeah.
I would leave town, right? I lived right in near the canyons, and I just go up those well, as teenagers, we went up those canyons all the time. Get in the car and you go up Mill Creek or,
Yeah.
A bunch of teenagers in a car, that's what we did, but he went to the parks.
Huh.
We didn't hang out in parks.
Right.
Do you?
No.
Do you?
No, I don't.
To me, that he hung out in parks. He knew all the parks in town, the ways out south. I didn't. I grew up around the bench, Foothill Drive is where I grew up.
Okay.
I don't believe he ever lied to me.
Yeah.
He wasn't somebody I said, boy, he didn't even tell me the truth.
Yeah.
Actually, but I must not have asked him what he did when he stood me up, though. I don't remember how. I think maybe I was, like I say, just really surprised. I think he's the first guy that had ever stood me up.
Yeah, right. We don't usually do that. That's not how guys do.
Yeah. So, maybe it was Utah. I don't know, but I wasn't used to be. Guys didn't mistreat even my friends, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It all seemed a pretty nice environment in general.
Got drunk and passed out at your house a couple of times, or at least once.
Well, not for me to go, I don't like this. I thought it was weird. Well, I don't know why I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, big deal, but I thought, I don't want a guy that falls asleep.
Yeah.
It's boring.
That's a little weird.
I get all dressed up and he falls asleep. No thanks.
Now, is
not enough excitement? But I don't know what he'd been doing. He might have been up all night cruising, but then Salt Lake's not a great cruising place at night, for sure. He didn't have I would say, other than not being able to handle it at all.
Oh, okay.
It was just live,
Right.
I mean, a half a beer, he'd be gone. I mean, it was like,
really?
He could really do. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, he wasn't drunk or anything,
Right.
But he'd just fall asleep on the floor in the living room. I don't know. I just thought, boring. I mean, there were so many things about him I thought were unusual. That, I mean, he just had me on the alert, really. I mean, I know, I have a great story for you. Okay. I think it was a great story. We had a double date with my friend, and actually, one of them had been I went to high school with him, but a couple that I, very fond of, and we went up to Park City before it had really taken off. Okay. It was just beginning, I think, then in the 70s. But anyway, there was a roadblock. And he, I don't know, he got behind the wheel of my car. No, he made me drive or something.
Okay.
We couldn't have been in his VW, I don't think. I don't think we would have gone up in that.
Too many people.
But he wasn't going to go through and answer any questions.
So
that was, for all of us, we just kind of went, oh. So he wouldn't go through the roadblock.
Okay.
And I've not ever known, that's new to me too, Steph. Somebody who's contact with the police or,
Yeah.
So.
What did he do? Did he turn around?
Yeah, we did a detour so that he didn't have to go through it then and made one or the other of us. I'll have to ask my friend Paula if she remembers. Yeah. I mean, that was like all of us. In fact, one of the guy that was my friend from high school, he was, smoked a lot of dope, and I don't know if he was dealing then, but even he didn't have trouble going through the, There weren't many of us, it felt like. And I never really dressed like one. I dressed in jeans, and, that was me. Yeah. But I did have the long hair that he evidently went after for some reason.
So funny, people say, "Oh yeah, he liked girls with parted hair in the middle and long hair," and that's like every girl in the 70s. And that was.
Well, yeah, that was. I mean, it was long hair time, for me.
Right.
And the hippies, I don't know why we wore it in the middle. Maybe because it's just the easiest way. Sure. Maybe they hair naturally like to part that way. I don't know. But, yeah. And that's what the police told me, that was the profile.
You lived off of Douglas or on Douglas Street?
On 12th. Okay,
yeah, right there. Right.
Right off of the 4th and a 5th. Okay.
He's.
In fact, I lived on 12th Street as a kid. My grandparents' house was on 12th Street. I was only 2 blocks away from my grandparents' house.
Oh, wow.
Where I grew up the first few years of my life.
His house, he rented a upstairs apartment at 364 Douglas Street. And
maybe I remember that.
You didn't know that?
Douglas is the street between 12th and 13th, isn't it?
Douglas, yes.
Yeah, and Douglas School is on there.
That's right. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, what was Douglas School? I don't know what that charter school is now. But
I don't know. I just know that the street was Douglas Street, and it was right down the street from his from the J. Quinney building where he went to law school.
oh, is that a law school now?
Mm-hmm. It was then.
Douglas was a block away from his house, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Going north.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I went to Douglas, and Josh went to Douglas.
They did. They ended up finding hair samples.
Yeah.
And
so he didn't do a good enough job, as it turns out.
No, they didn't.
And if that was the time they got for my vacuum, my Electrolux.
Wow. That's cool.
I got it back. Yeah.
I love the details. I love details like that.
I guess I don't know what happened to that Electrolux. Yeah. Well, they're the things that make the story, the details. To me.
Yeah, for me too. And you were a little muffled there when you were talking. You said that he was cleaning it out in your driveway?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he borrowed my vacuum, to clean it with.
Your Electrolux.
Yeah.
Carole Booth said that he borrowed her sewing machine. She had a nice sewing machine, and she went to get it back. He told her something like, "Oh, I want to patch up my jeans." And apparently it was a nice sewing machine or whatever, and she was worried about it, and he never gave it back. And weeks later, she said, "Hey, where's my sewing machine?" And he said, "What are you talking about? I never borrowed your sewing machine."
Oh, really?
That's what she told me, yeah.
My husband and kids, and we lived in a house on 5th Street.
Okay.
And, this is back in the 70s when people were just running nuts. And I got mad at my husband, told him I was going to move out. And Bundy said that he had a room in the house, and he had an empty room up there. So I rented it from him and went up there, and I don't know, I was probably up there a week or something. But anyway, he did say one thing that was scary. There are two things. Okay, one thing he said is that I thought about just bringing this extra key up there and sneaking in on you some night. Ha ha ha, and
Right.
which didn't seem very much like in character for him. And another thing was, he had a party one night, and I didn't go to it. And I do think he did have a party. And after the party, I have never seen such cleaning. The potted plants were all just perfectly, cleaned out with the soil all just right. And another thing is that I believe that he borrowed my sewing machine.
Yes.
And I never saw it again.
Yes.
And anyway, Leslie was a real good friend of mine. And she started dating him. And then she just totally, then he got arrested.
Yeah.
And she just dropped the subject altogether. And finally she said that he tried to choke her.
Oh, wow.
And she just kept beating on him and yelling, "Ted, Ted, Ted." And he finally came to himself and stopped. He thinks, and I do too, think that because we had children that he didn't kill us.
Right.
That it ruined her life.
Now, what did he tell you about that after he borrowed? Did he try to lie to you about?
Yeah. He borrowed it saying that he needed to fix some of his jeans. Oh. And when I asked him back for it, he said that he never borrowed it.
Okay.
And I thought, well,
That's kind of
you know,
weird.
I'm surprised, and uh, that was the only questionable thing that I ever knew about.
Okay. That's
Our kids liked him, and he played with them, and our dog liked him, and he played with them, you know.
yeah.
Wow.
I thought that is so weird. How do you? It's like, yeah, I borrowed your car. What are you talking about? I never borrowed your car.
Wow.
Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah, it is, but see, this is behavior I didn't see. I mean, he never, well, I don't know. I didn't see anything that might seem kind of, pathetic to be even detailing, but they didn't. They were just examples to me of somebody who was unfathomable is how I look at it.
Yeah.
There was so much of his behavior that even though it doesn't sound like anything to anybody, it must have been, he must have alarmed me so that, I was on the alert for all kinds of stuff. Something just wasn't right with him. That's all.
He got your hackles up, basically, and you weren't sure why, it sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, how bad is that to fall asleep on, with a beer?
Yeah.
But
did he ever borrow anything else from you, or anything? I should say.
I don't remember. In fact, I don't remember Carole. But then I probably wouldn't remember something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I might. That would be bad. That'd be pretty bad for me to have somebody you couldn't trust at all.
Yeah.
I mean, the vacuum. She had good things. You're right. I know she did.
Did she?
Yeah, she came from money.
Must have known him when he was at the old house because, well, I mean, maybe you didn't, but she said that it was at the 565 house that she had broken up with her husband. Had a nasty.
Jim?
Is that okay? Yeah, I don't know. She wouldn't tell me his
Jim?
name.
Yeah. Well, she still has his name.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. I don't care.
Yeah, I know, but I just don't want you to use it.
Oh, no, I won't. Because she already said that. I wouldn't do it. I won't use anything you guys don't want me to.
Well, I just don't want, I have no right to.
For sure.
Yeah.
Understood. What? No, and I won't. But she said that he, what happened was that she got in a fight with Jim, and Ted said, well, hey, why don't you come stay over at my apartment complex, because he, as it turns out, we found out since that he was the apartment manager there. And
he'd let her into a. Oh, I don't know what he had on his mind.
Yeah, she said that, and I didn't know this until I talked to her, but he let her stay in the apartment across the hall from his upstairs. And what it sounds like is that it was an empty apartment. Somebody had moved out, and he was like, why don't you just come stay here for free? He gave her the keys, and then he apparently joked around with her, in his creepy Ted way, and said, hey, maybe I got a key to your house. Maybe I'll come over and visit you one of these nights when you're sleeping, or something like that.
Was that a red flag for her?
Yeah, she thought that was really weird.
Yeah.
Really creepy.
Yes.
Anyway,
oh, yeah.
Kind of a strange story, I thought.
I'm sure that would have, after the fact, would have, been horrifying. Well, it was for me to find it. Of course it would be. How did I escape? I had many, many opportunities to do me harm.
Did you Did you ever know the girl that lived downstairs, Christine Mon? You ever heard that name, or Margith?
What's the last name?
I think
downstairs from what?
The first place, 565.
Oh, I did go to his apartment.
Okay.
But it wasn't on Douglas Street.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking that Carole met him, if she could have run into him walking back from the university.
Yeah, okay.
You know, if he lived it was the same time he lived in the neighborhood, but maybe it was maybe I went to the one that was up on the avenue.
Looks like he got arrested around the time he knew you, and then sold his car and moved up to this other place on Douglas, all in a little short little window of time, couple of months.
Oh, okay. Well, I must have met him. I bet she ran into him walking to school or something in the neighborhood. Maybe she met some guys she always wanted to get me to go out with people. She was always looking, because I was newly divorced, right?
Yeah, sure.
So she was doing her best to find me a new partner, and Ted was her choice. What you owe good friends, right?
Right. I get it.
It's all Carole's fault. I would have never dated the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was. I remember when I met him at this party, he was in the corner, in the dark.
Wow.
Just hanging out in the corner in the dark.
And that's how you
Now
met
what? Oh, that's the first I noticed him.
Do you recall the nature of that party?
I mean, he was a good-looking guy. There's no doubt about that. Very athletic looking.
Sure.
College, he's, law student. Yeah, he was appealing for sure. My parents were very proud of me.
Really?
I took him to a family reunion, so all of my relatives got to meet him.
No kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, my mother called me up, and I just can't believe she said that. She said, "How could you?" I said, "God, Mom, you think I'm looking for serial killers?" I mean, she had to take him back, but, she was, like I'd done something wrong. No. Yeah.
But they were impressed with him.
Yes. If he hadn't been found out, there was really nothing they could, what could you say? There weren't, negative things to say about him. He was pretty socially, he took good care of his stuff, and he looked like he was a together person. That was his disguise, There's nothing to worry about with me, except that thing with Carole. That was a bad mistake, but he was probably under a lot of pressure by then. Sewing the machine.
Oh, the sewing machine, yeah, sure.
But this was, all of this was taking place just months before he was arrested.
Yeah.
Weeks before he was arrested.
And you...
So this was the end for him.
It was the bitter end, right. He, and you said you met his parents.
Yes, I don't know how we got up to Seattle, but we did.
Okay.
Tacoma. So I don't know how we did that. We must have driven.
And it was, so that's indicative that, that it was getting kind of serious at some level, or that...
Yeah, why would he do that?
Yeah, sure.
We maybe had to keep them, not the first time I've been presented to parents as
Right.
As kind of a foil for their sons. I'll introduce her to Mom. She's the kind that, you want to introduce to your mom.
Oh my God, you're the coolest, Leslie. I love you, man. That's hilarious.
Well, I think I've learned a few things.
Definitely.
But,
so
anyway.
You were working at East High this whole time. Is that right?
Was it that or, wait, I worked at two. Both of them were alternative schools.
Okay.
Well, I was working with the tough kids. One was Salt Lake Junior High, and it was over across from West. My brother told me it was a new school, I believe.
That's right.
And then I was at East High. And I don't remember if I was at East when I was on Douglas or not, or if I was over by West High.
Do you remember anything about any babysitting? Did Ted help you out with anything like that?
I mean, did I left Ted with Josh? No.
Okay.
I mean, it could have happened. He was who the guy was dating, right?
Right.
I would have felt okay leaving him with Ted.
Sure.
But I shouldn't have. Well, he never killed any guys, did he?
No, not that we know of.
Yeah.
No, I'm just curious because there was a little blurb in one of the reports, and sometimes you wonder.
A little boy.
There was a little blurb in one of the reports that I read, and sometimes you wonder how accurate that stuff is. So no, that's just interesting.
No, it is. But there was nothing. Like I say, there weren't a lot of. He kept himself pretty in line with a normal behavior.
Yeah.
He was pretty good at that.
Really? Yeah, no, I get it.
The psychopath part of him, he couldn't hide very easily.
Sure.
They say sociopath now, don't they? I don't understand why they.
I don't either. People ask me that, and I'm like, I don't know the difference either.
Psycho works much better, I think. But